No intro, just goofy clips from Morocco TV.
What's up? Do you want to be a philosophy major? Are you considering it? Let's have a chat. I am one at UCLA.
What if I told you that all of our favorite philosophers are men and all of them are extremely sexist?
Women are not.
I have noticed this, that a lot of great thinkers really don't think highly of women.
Made of the higher sciences. They may be educated, but they cannot reach the depths of philosophy.
And this is all of your favorite philosophers. Even the recent ones that are female are equally just as sexist.
Do you believe that there is going to be a day where there's going to be a female in the White House as president? And how do you feel about that?
I wouldn't vote for her.
You would or wouldn't?
Would not.
You would not?
No.
But what does this mean? Because this is never mentioned in your philosophy course's favorite YouTubers, the professionals that study this, because deep down, they agree. But why? Does this mean the philosophers are still correct, or have times changed?
Hello, those are my teeth marks. The human being is spirit, but what is spirit? Spirit is a self, but what is a self? The self
No, I think they were correct.
is a relation which relates to itself, or that in the relation which is its relating to itself. The self is not the relation, but the relation's relating to itself. A human being is a synthesis of the infinite and of the finite, of the temporal and the eternal.
Did you guys understand that? Well, the point was, you were not supposed to, because there was nothing of substance that was said. There's a lot of performatism in today's world in terms of how intelligent I am, because I can speak in a way so eloquently you cannot understand. But quite simply, that is just a sign of memorization and lack of ability to communicate.
This is why there are a lot of people who are really smart. They use a lot of jargon, and you can't quite follow their reasoning. You don't know how they're putting things together, and you have this deep down suspicion they don't even really understand. So if you look at the most powerful thinkers, especially the ones where money or life is on the line, they have to understand the basics really, really well. Richard Feynman, the famous physicist, he had this piece in one of his lectures where he takes you from counting numbers on your hand all the way to calculus in 4 pages. And it's a complete unbroken logical chain that takes you through pre-calculus, analytic geometry, graphs, everything, all the way to calculus. He understood numbers at a core level. He didn't have to memorize anything. When you're memorizing, it's an indication that you don't understand.
This is actually 100% true. This is how I've always passed tests in high school. I never got core understanding. I just looked at questions and answers, and memorized that. That's how I passed high school.
You should be able to rederive anything on the spot. And if you can't, you don't know it.
Warning, this video is not meant to hate women. I love women, specifically Latinas, but truthfully, women cannot shut the fuck up about how they live longer, how they're more mature, more intelligent than men, which, by the way, is actually factually correct.
Women are literally smarter than men because toxic masculinity holds men back from becoming emotionally mature.
I think one issue with modern dating that I haven't seen a lot of women talk about is the number of women who are disproportionately more educated than men. Between the ages of 25.
Being educated doesn't mean you're intelligent. There's plenty of educated people that don't.
Right? There's plenty of people that have college degrees that make no money. And there's plenty of people with no college degree that make plenty of money. They're called tradesmen.
And don't understand people and have no social intelligence whatsoever. I actually think that people that judge others on their level of education are idiots.
5 and 34, women outnumber men in bachelor's degrees by 10%.
But you see in the real world how men dominate every single field. Why are all the wisest people dead and now only preferring men? 100 million AI contracts with the G, how, who, you. Why is there not more women? Where's my diversity?
Because they don't want to do it. They've got the opportunity to do these things.
I don't think that they want. They don't even have the capabilities of doing it on Morocco TV. Like, I don't think women think the same way that men think. And they don't care about the things that they think about as much as men care about actual objects and things.
But they don't want to do those types of things. And it's fine they don't want to do those types of things. I don't really give a shit. What's annoying is when they complain that they can't do those types of things, as if they're not allowed to do those types of things. They're allowed to do it. I just think a lot of them can't. Or they're not interested.
And a short synthesis is...
No, a lot of them can't, and then they blame that, oh, because they can't. No, it's actually because of men. That's why they can't.
Synthesis is a relation between two terms. Looked at in this way, The human being is not yet a self. Soren Kierkegaard, The Sickness Unto Death. This book is very well loved and hated.
Banana Butthole III clenched his cheeks awaiting the tip of a real man. Is anything she is saying making any actual sense?
It just kept on going in circles with like the same 3 words repeating itself or something like
Obviously not. And again, that is not the point. It's just to pretend that you are intelligent. And I don't want to slam dunk on this girl, but the theme of the video is that philosophers never respected women, especially when it came to philosophy and advanced sciences.
When the laws gave women equal rights with man, they ought to have also endowed her with a masculine intellect.
Damn.
So the question is, were they correct? Because we're now in the future where women are the most educated in terms of college. They are the ones that are the most enrolled. Men are actually becoming less educated. But statistically, men have a higher ceiling for IQ.
Look at a lot of the college and university students and the way they're coming out with these ridiculous ideologies.
They're coming out dumber, right? Dumber. Not even dumber, dumbest almost.
Confused about gender. Seems they're coming out dumber than they are smart.
Equally, men also have the lowest ceiling for IQ, and you can see
We got some Neanderthals out there.
this is explained in a lot of statistics where men live the most diverse lives, as in they're the richest and equally they are the most poor. You can see this pattern occur in everything. And to preface, this is very important to know, but all of these studies of men having larger variabilities in terms of IQ is also extremely old. This is where the argument comes up that, well, maybe it's because men had an education and women didn't, so it skewed the statistics. But remember, statistically, IQ is heritable, as in it is biological, as in it is something you were born with. That is why men are taller, that is why men are stronger.
I did not realize IQ is not something you can improve on. I always thought you can improve on your IQ.
And it also equates to why they can be dumber and smarter. Also, I lied. There are a bunch of new studies, 2024, 2025, that proves the exact point of IQ variability, meaning the philosopher saying women cannot reach the depths of advanced sciences is actually correct.
Other than
It actually does make sense, because the women that do or that are able to get to that high of level of science and, you know, intelligence and philosophy are maybe one in how many? Like, right? So it makes sense that very few of these women would ever get to that echelon of IQ.
Jesus, no other figure has influenced more Americans than this woman right here, Ayn Rand. And I'm not kidding, there was literally a Library of Congress study that showed exactly that. Maybe that's a win for feminism? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure you assume that Ayn Rand is this sort of like conservative American philosopher, but she wasn't. She was really a Russian playwright who was obsessed with a Hollywood who would not accept her. And right today, there are senators named after her, like my good friend right here, Rand Paul. But the most bizarre legacy of her influence, and this is something you probably won't hear most places, is her devout following in Hollywood. For instance, shortly before dying, Farrah Fawcett called Ayn Rand a literary genius. Angelina Jolie called her philosophy very, very interesting. Rob Lowe here said that her novel Atlas Shrugged is a stupendous achievement and that he just adores it. And this one killed me a little bit, but Eva Mendes said that anybody she dates has to be a fan of Ayn Rand.
You can tell by the comments, a lot of people don't like her.
Ayn Rand sucks. You shouldn't respect her. Let me tell you why. I wouldn't read this book again if I was stranded on a desert island for the rest of my life, and this was my only reading material.
Ayn Rand seemed profound when I was in the 8th grade, but as I got older, she seemed childish.
And why is that? She's like one of the most popular female philosophers, and they hate her. I will say though, it's a little ironic that there isn't a lot of female philosophers, and the philosophers that do hate women, which is all of them, also nobody likes the one that is the only one that's very popular.
Interesting.
What does that say? What does that say? You guys actually think about that. But here's the truth. She's really good.
Ayn Rand is a writer and philosopher. Her philosophy is most dramatically expressed through the heroic characters in her 4 novels, of which The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged are the most famous.
Miss Rand,
You have said that your primary purpose in writing is to project the ideal man. For those who may not have read Atlas Shrugged and have not yet met Hank Rearden or John Galt, how would you describe the ideal man?
Ayn Rand and her main philosophy is something called objectivism. The core idea is that reality exists independently of anyone's feelings or wishes. I could tell that the girl from the TikTok is someone who takes a lot of pride in being better than men, more intelligent, and
I think this gap in education becomes very apparent in dating because you don't really want to text somebody who's constantly speaking with grammatical errors, who can't keep up with you intellectually, who's not good at like communicating their thoughts and like putting.
I have so many grammatical errors all the time. I always forget to put punctuation. I forget to put commas. I have run-on sentences all the time. Sorry, I'm uneducated. I try. Don't trust me, I try. Also, fat fingers and horrible thumb also doesn't help with autocorrect and everything too.
Putting them into words and really concisely, effectively communicating them to you.
These types of women also like to give themselves an excuse when they can't attract the type of men that they actually want.
I'm just too smart.
I'm too intelligent for him, you know, I was too intimidating for him, I was too much and too strong for him. No, he just didn't want you. That's all it is. And when you hear them talk, you can understand why.
guess what? Again, statistically, that is true. But people also forget that men are objectively, statistically, better. And that sounds very rage-baity, provocative, but that's entirely the point of Ayn Rand, which is why so many people hate her. It's because she is an OG rage-baiter, which people forget that a lot of philosophers at the time, no one liked whatsoever. They would kill all the Greek philosophers because they did so much change. It's the same idea. Every philosopher is hated when they are alive, but after they die, they are revered, they are loved. Friedrich Nietzsche died irrelevant, so, hated, forgotten, not.
Yeah, it is interesting to live a life of a philosopher. You are hated as you're alive, and then you get revered as years pass on.
Cared about. Ayn Rand is exactly the same.
What Rand offers is an inversion of the golden rule. Instead of love your neighbor as yourself, Rand instructs us to cut the middleman and just love yourself instead. To Rand, altruism is evil, and selfishness should be rewarded.
The problem with philosophy content is that a bunch of them believe they are more intelligent than they actually are.
True.
What people don't understand about the biblical quote is, love thy neighbor as thyself. Thyself is the measuring stick, not an afterthought. It assumes there's already...
No, that makes sense. Like, yeah, if you love yourself to a certain degree, you should share that same quality of love to the neighbor.
A baseline of care, dignity, and mercy you give yourself, because think about it, how can you love someone more if you can't even love yourself first? That's...
This is... Oh my God. This is something my dad always says. My dad has always said this to me when I was growing up, like, no one can love you more than you loving yourself. And if you don't love yourself, who can love you? Damn.
It's what Ayn Rand is talking about, because you need to be selfish for yourself if you actually want to contribute for society. How could you provide to the world if you're a homeless man trying to constantly help everyone else?
Yeah, it's like being in a relationship. You can't be in a relationship with someone if you don't feel good about yourself. You need to feel good about yourself, work on yourself to be prepared to give the best version to someone else. Right. Being selfish isn't always bad. You have to be selfish to give your best version to other people.
You have no resources, you have no leverage, and it's quite simple to understand, but people get...
I mean, that's what liberalism right now. All these broke people that are trying to change the world with their brokenness and unemploymentness.
Caught up in this game of I'm intelligent. I use the word altruism.
For many people,
you guys know me. I barely use any vocabulary words that are more than like 3-4 syllables.
Religion's a way of explaining the mysteries of life, the unknown things. Do you recognize no mysteries?
I don't believe that lack of knowledge is a license to start inventing fantasies.
And because everyone hates on the female philosopher that is purposefully being antagonistic, being very controversial, it's easy to feel smart and take the free win. But I think people need to understand her philosophy has existed forever. Rarely will a new thought ever be generated. Never fill. You can't fill a cup or something from an empty
different
cup. You
ways
get
of
the
saying
idea,
it.
right? You need to help yourself first. You need to love yourself first before you can help other people. And the main idea with Ayn Rand is that you don't want to be someone who feels obligated to help other people because of societal pressures. You need to do it for your own self, for your own reason, which is to be selfish.
Donated is a year of clean water for someone in need. And, we're trying to raise money to get people clean water all around the world. It's, a big thing. People die from it. And we're just curious. Your friends here were saying you're a very generous soul.
Are you really gonna do this shit? I fucking did the McDonald's drive-thru, man. Is this gonna happen to me?
If you guys don't get it, Mr. Beast is guilt tripping a lot of celebrities doing on a live stream to donate money for his charity.
And he was asking them for like hundreds of thousands. Well, these men do have a lot of money, but that's a lot of money.
But the problem is they don't want to donate the money. They're being forced to via obligation and social pressure into doing it.
Correct.
And my personality would say, fuck that. There's certain people that break and they give the money, and there's other people that actually find this annoying and they're less likely to give the money. When you see someone's playing these games or trying to guilt trip you into something, you don't want to do it. That's me personally.
This is important to know because moral debt is a real thing. There are studies, even a Vsauce experimental video.
I miss Vsauce. That gentleman grew up a lot on that.
Learn from moral psychology experiments doesn't always make humans look good. For example, today we're going to look at moral licensing. The theory that when you do something good, you subconsciously feel you've earned a license to then do something bad.
Surprise, surprise, it is not a theory, and that is why it is so important to love yourself first and not live under obligations doing things other people want you to do rather than you yourself wanting it to do. Because if you're forced to do something good like donating money to a charity you don't give a fuck about, then maybe you will justify doing that good for the sake of doing something bad. AKA Ayn Rand is correct. Selfishness should be rewarded because it benefits society overall. Thank you for my TED Talk. Like, subscribe.
If a man's ever rude to you, just be an inconvenience.
Single cat lady.
Remain children all their lives. They always see only what is near, think only of the present, and are incapable of looking far ahead.
I say it all the time. All they can see is this.
Their judgment is like that of a child. It lacks depth and is determined by immediate impressions.
Yeah, that was fucking sick. Nah, I'll be 100% honest. That was a cool edit, but I think people forget that these philosophers do not hate women. They're making generalizations, which is factually correct, right? Does that make sense? There will be outliers, and those outliers will be the exception to the rule. That does not mean every type of woman you meet will be beneath you.
People who can't understand generalizations are idiots, and they're a waste of time to speak to. Don't even bother explaining that you're making a generalization.
Because they're a little bit less intelligent statistically. But I think a lot of people forget that there is an average narcissism bias. If you look at the stats, ask a driver, the majority of drivers will believe they are better than the others. So when I present...
I can admit, I've been in quite a few accidents.
At the fact that a lot of men could be more intelligent by, genetics, they assume, yeah, I'm the intelligent one. I'm the intelligent one. Probably not the one at the very bottom.
I'm probably in like the middle somewhere. I'm not the most smart, but I'm also not a complete dumbass.
But, take this information as you will. But here's the truth. That doesn't mean you discriminate against women. That doesn't mean you discriminate against men because they could be more intelligent or they could be dumber. The main idea is these guys were extremely ahead of their time. They don't have studies. A lot of their ideas came from just pure observation and interpretation. But
that's what philosophy is, right? It's just observing human behavior, observing science, observing everything that happens with a very meticulous lens.
Here's the truth. The more we consume and use social media, you're degrading the part of your brain where you were thinking for yourself. I never went or enjoyed philosophy in college, high school. I never liked any of it because everything they taught were things I've already thought of myself. And this is very important because this is also the main philosophy towards the content you watch. The fuck? Do you think I watch YouTube videos about some British guy talking about philosophy? That's dumb as fuck. I'm being so serious.
Yeah, do not do that.
That is the dumbest thing you could possibly do because modern day philosophers no longer exist. You know why they don't exist? Because they're using all the actual teachings and learnings from philosophy in their real life, and they're all of the successful people. Does that make sense? It is a genuine trap to be stuck in this echo chamber of believing you are more intelligent based off of, I know philosophy, I know what altruism is. Oh, do you know how to pronounce Friedrich Nietzsche? I do. You Nietzsche? This guy. And I think it's very important to know that modern day philosophers are the ones that are actually applying the lessons. The fakes and fake intelligent people are the ones who pretend they are smart because they talk about it all the time rather than actually applying and putting themselves in situations where they fail and learn from it and become even smarter. People pretend to be intelligent by memorization, but interpretation and the ability to break it down into fundamentals is extremely important.
I've always thought that was the more important thing, is to figure it out. Like, if someone can tell you something, but if you can figure it out yourself, yeah, you know it much better than someone teaching it to you or telling it to you. Because it takes so much more energy to figure it out, right? And when you figure it out, no one told you. No, you went through all the trials and tribulations to get that answer. Now you know, oh, the requirement to get an answer, the requirement to figure something out. A lot of people don't have those, I guess, drive to want to figure things out. They want things just handed to them, answered to them. That's why a lot of people say the stupid things they say, right? Because all of these answers were given to them. All of these sayings, these mottos, I don't even know what they would call them. You know, all of these buzzwords, they were taught. They weren't analyzed. They were just straight taught, and these people absorbed it immediately.
This is why my videos are not targeted towards philosophy idiots, but people who haven't even been introduced to it. Because if your goal is to teach and leave a real impact, you wouldn't go to those who speak and think like you, but those who have never even considered to do so. Check out my I Show Speed video. Check out my Kanye West video. Kodak Black is a Clash Royale goblin. Who thinks of that? A real philosopher. But yeah, women are cool. I like women. It's just that, yeah, accept the facts, right? Some men could be smarter, but the majority of them are dumber than women. Just realize the difference between median, mode, range, this stuff you get in high school. And here's a very clear lesson you need to realize. All of the questions and answers you don't have and you want to desperately know, it's out there. The internet exists. You can find it. But why are you choosing not to find it?
Someone said, not sexist, aware. Emotional thinking doesn't pair well with rational thoughts. I enjoyed this video. Come on, man, we're giving you a like, we're subscribing. Go and check out Rambo. He's got some interesting videos. Go check him out. Keep killing it.